Let's go on to our third main topic today. What is our third main topic today, Ashley?
Next one up is John DeBenedict. Love the show as always. I just read the news that John Cena may be joining James Gunn's Suicide Squad revamp alongside Margot Robbie and Idris Elba. I'll admit, while I'm not the biggest John Cena fan in the world, depending on the tone Gunn is going for with this film, I'm very intrigued. Gunn was able to direct somebody like Dave Bautista to his strengths in the Guardians film. Could he do the same for Cena? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, first of all, I will admit, I kind of get surprised whenever I hear John Cena's in the running for a movie. Look, here's my general impressions of John Cena. I think this is a guy who is not a very strong actor. But when we saw Trainwreck, and I think it was Sisters that he was in as well, we discovered that when you put him in a, let's say, limited role, and you give him something comedic to do, he can work. Mm-hmm. Like I thought he was very funny in Trainwreck, and I even liked his parts in Sisters as well. When you put him in something like that, he's got some chops. He's got some skills there. Now, then they took the next logical step and gave John Cena his own big lead in Blockers. A movie that wasn't bad. It was okay. It was a pretty decent comedy. Unfortunately, though, I think the weakest element of that film was John Cena. Then they gave him a role in Bumblebee. And while he has a couple of really decent moments that weren't just well written, but he actually performed them well, like, guys, their names are literally the Decepticons. Does that not raise any flags with anybody? He played the line great, all that kind of stuff, but still, overall, I don't feel like he brought a lot to the movie. Now, one of the things you bring up, John DeBenedict, in your email, which is a really great point, is that you got another guy like Dave Bautista, another former wrestler, that has spent a lot of years recently just really working at nothing but his acting. And he's been doing all the training. He's been humble. He's been taking small, tiny roles, gradually getting bigger. And now he's got a couple of films coming out where he's actually the lead. Stuber is one that looks really good with Kumail Nanjiani, and there's another kid. But it started with James Gunn, a director who gets a talent in his hands and understands how to accentuate the strengths of that talent and how to hide the weaknesses of that talent. And he played that to Dave Bautista with great effect. I think you put now John Cena, a guy who has shown he's got some comedic chops, into the hands of a director like James Gunn, who has a track record of taking maybe, let's say, somebody with a limited set of talents, who knows how to highlight those talents, protect them from their weaknesses a little bit, and give them a chance to grow and develop. Rob, I'll go on a limb and say this. Not only do I think that this could be a pretty decent move for something like Suicide Squad, because you're putting him in the hands of James Gunn, and you might be able to play something really good out of that. I'll say this. Going into the hands of James Gunn might be the best thing that has ever happened in John Cena's career, because Dave Bautista took leaps and bounds of progress as a director after working with Gunn. Maybe the same thing could happen with the John Cena. So honestly, while I kind of rolled my eyes at this a little bit at first, admittedly, this could actually be a pretty good move. What do you think about it?
Well, I think you stated it pretty well. I think I've seen John Cena both. He tends to go a little broad with his comedy and a little obvious. And I thought he was hilarious in Trainwreck. I mean, I thought he was really, really funny. And again, like you just pointed out, it really comes down to a director knowing how to best employ his or her actors. And I think that John Cena can be a wonderful addition to a cast, but he has to be a little bit reined in. You have to shape his performance. And I think, coming out of wrestling, he's wrestling is big. To be in the wrestling environment, you're big. Whereas on screen, subtlety, even when it comes to humor, if you're not trying to go this big over the top, overblown, subtlety is always good, even when you have a big talent. And I think James Gunn and John Cena are like the perfect combination, because James Gunn knows how to employ, like you pointed out with Bautista. He was great as Drax in the first Guardians. I mean, I was floored by his deadpan delivery and some of the things he said, especially about going over his head. I mean, that was one of the funniest moments in a movie. It was just so funny because it was so dry and yet hilarious. And I think that I'm excited when I heard, I'm like, okay, James Gunn and John Cena, that's a combination. You know, it's like when you have a great souffle. A souffle can be deflated, but if it's prepared by a master chef, what a delight.
All right. Well, what do you guys think about John Cena possibly in talks right now to join Suicide Squad 2? Jump down to the comment section and let me know what you think.